All right, I'm done writing here at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. This really is a first-class building. Figured I'd do the Lombardi Leaves a loss video. Because normally I say Lombardi leaves Levi's. I'm not leaving Levi's. I'm leaving the building here in Minnesota. And, there's one first piece of perspective that I think is really, really important to hold right now. This loss happened on October 23rd. October 23rd of last season, the 49ers delivered a historically bad defensive performance against the Kansas City Chiefs at home. Lombardi leaves Levi's. That was a year ago to the day of this loss against Minnesota. So last year, after the loss to the Chiefs, they gave up 529 yards, scorched earth. They had to go back to the drawing board. This year, after this loss to the Vikings, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board. They didn't stop the run in the first half. They didn't have a single sack. They had the lowest pressure rate since 2017. This 49ers defense, that defensive line with Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Javon Hargrave, Randy Gregory, they had the lowest pressure rate they've had since 2017 when they didn't have those players. They had Armstead back then, but they didn't have the other guys on that front. So obviously, what happened today wasn't good enough. It was bad. But this defense has gone through big-time struggles in 2022. They went through struggles in 2021 with all those pass interference penalties. Back in 2021, in fact, I would say that was DeMeco Ryans' first year as coordinator. He was going through some growing pains, figuring out when to blitz, when not to blitz, figuring out coverages. That was the Drake Kirkpatrick season, remember, when he got just completely smeared by Eno Benjamin and the Arizona Cardinals. But in both of 2021 and 2022, the 49ers defense figured it out. So they're going to have to figure it out again. That's the kind of perspective that we need. Now, the difference is that in 2021, they started 3-5. In 2022, they started 3-4. At this point of 2023, the 49ers are 5-2. So they have a whole lot of leeway this year that they didn't have in the past. They still want to turn up the Jets just like they did last season. They won 12 straight after October 23rd before the NFC Championship game. So that game against the Chiefs a year ago to the day of this loss against the Vikings woke the 49ers defense up. I think it took about a half for them to fully settle in the following week against the Rams. Christian McCaffrey making history with the throwing touchdown, the catching touchdown, and the rushing touchdown obviously helped the 49ers. And it gave the defense some time to stabilize itself. But a similar stabilization is going to have to occur for the 49ers on Sunday against Cincinnati. Here's another look at the field on which this all happened. The 49ers will have a short week this week. They have to play the Cincinnati Bengals on a short week, coming off of these two losses, a lot of cross-country travel, while the Bengals are coming off of a bye. It is not going to be easy, but at some point, you just have to dig deep and get it done. And that's what the 49ers did against the Rams last year to turn it around. And they've actually fixed their issues in each of the past two seasons against the Rams, now that I think about it. But they did that against the Rams last year to turn it around following the loss to the Chiefs. The season prior, it was against the Rams on Monday Night Football at Levi Stadium. So unfortunately for the 49ers, they don't have their get-well game against the Rams. The get-well game is going to have to come against the Cincinnati Bengals, a team that they beat in 2021. But it's just so important to zoom out and look at this from the big picture. Stop pretending that the 49ers did not have struggles in 2021 defensively. Stop pretending that they did not have struggles in 2022 defensively. They did have struggles in both of those two seasons. So they have to course correct now, but they actually are in a better spot than they were in 2021 and 2022. I think that 5-2 is a whole lot better than 3-5 or 3-4. So acting like this is the end of the world is, again, losing the forest because you're focused on one tree on this loss. Now, I think offensively, there's a whole heck of a lot for the 49ers to be happy with. Brock Purdy played really well today. Really well. I mean, there wasn't a single blitz that flummoxed him from this league-high blitz rate of the Minnesota Vikings. Purdy got into trouble late in the game when they were dropping back into zone coverage. He missed Jennings on that in route, left it too far inside back there on that field. Here, we could flip it around. You could see where exactly he left it too far inside. That football needed to go to just outside the 30 to the left of it. It went to the right of the 30-yard line. He put it inside the numbers instead of a little bit further outside the numbers. And then obviously there was the desperation interception that Purdy threw a little bit later. But at that point, the 49ers were already in a spot where it was going to take a miraculous drive, no timeouts, driving, 60 yards or so downfield after the Vikings missed. The Vikings opened the door for them, but the 49ers, Purdy basically couldn't pull out the heroics. He wasn't excellent. He didn't do something legendary and crazy out on that field. He had a chance to do that, but you could really build off of the way that he was facing this blitz and accurately delivering before the defense put the 49ers behind the 8 ball. This loss, you can't firmly put it on either side of the football because it is a beautiful sport in that you have to play this football game complementarily. Each unit has to help out the other unit. But I think if you're going to divvy blame in this game, the 49ers defense should take a whole lot more of it because they were fully healthy. They weren't missing Trent Williams. They weren't in a situation where a player was playing with an injury like Christian McCaffrey. They weren't missing Deebo Samuel. That 49ers defense still gave up the 350 pass yards to Kirk Cousins. They still struggled against the run. They were at full strength in this game, and they weren't able to get the job done. They weren't able to set it up for the 49ers offense. And instead, the 49ers offense had to fight from behind. And for a lot of the game, they did a good job. And then they ran out of steam there at the very end. No phase of the game was perfect, but this was also the case last year when the 49ers slid to 3-4 in that game against the Chiefs. So it's a similar story. This is a book. These are all chapters. I mentioned this earlier. This chapter did not go the 49ers' way. They've got to make sure that the next chapter is a lot kinder to them. And I talked to some of the guys in the locker room. This is gut check time for the 49ers. Because you're on that short week, you're going to be more bruised. You're going to be more tired than the Bengals. Even if you have a better roster than Cincinnati, they're going to be at that. Cincinnati's going to have that advantage against San Francisco. And it's going to be tough. But there come times in seasons where push comes to shove, where you have to try to scratch and claw to get that victory. And if you want this 1 seed, if you're the 49ers, this is a game that it'd behoove you to win against Cincinnati. And maybe the short week is what the 49ers need. Maybe they've been in this funk with this tiny low pressure rate, with these struggles against the run. They say they're having great practice weeks, but they're not executing on the field. Maybe they're procrastinators and they just need a little bit of deadline pressure. And that deadline pressure is here if they want to stay firmly in the hunt for that number 1 seed. Maybe they just need this game to come on Sunday as quickly as possible. Bruises be damned. Maybe they just need to suck it up, fight through adversity, and move forward. Fred Warner had a great point today. He said that this team is fine when they're winning 30-10. They did that for nearly 5 straight weeks, right? But over the past 2 weeks, when the bar fights have happened, when the games have gotten grittier, when they've gotten grimier, the 49ers have not executed at nearly the level that they need to execute at. So maybe we can throw away all of the easy setups out of the window. Maybe we could throw away the 49ers should be coming off of a bye too before they play the Bengals. The 49ers need everything lined up for an overpowering effort to happen. Maybe the 49ers just need to muscle up and deliver when it won't be easy. That's their opportunity coming this Sunday against Cincinnati. It will not be easy, but it's exactly what Fred Warner said the 49ers would have to do to add a nice chapter, a good chapter, into this longer novel. There have been 5 really good chapters, 2 poor chapters for the 49ers. What will Chapter 8 bring? We'll find out next week against Cincinnati. I have my box score. A lot more analysis is coming soon. It's going to be Lombardi Leaves. Pick up my bag. Lombardi Leaves. What is this place called? Allegiant Stadium? What time zone am I in? I'm in the Central Time Zone. Sometimes you forget what city you're in. But I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Beautiful stadium. We'll say goodbye to it. It's the house of horrors for the 49ers. They've yet to win a regular season game here. They lost in 2018. They've lost in 2023. And now they haven't won in Minneapolis since 1992. December of 1992 with Steve Young as their quarterback. Concourse is a littered mess here right now. As you'll see, they're cleaning. Got to make sure that I don't slip. But I am trying to find an elevator, and I believe it's right here. Great. Always fun. You got to get down to floor 1. Always fun to make my way out of these stadiums at night. Thought I'd lock myself into Pittsburgh a little bit earlier this year. I swear to God, I was the last person in there. You may lose me a little bit in the elevator, but in case you do, I think we've already gone through the game, haven't we? That's what it looks like. Vikings win, you win. Pothole pizza. I found the exit. I just gotta hope that it opens. It's always a big win if it does. And I also am in a position where I think I'm gonna wait inside as I call my Uber. All right, 49ers lose, 22-17. Ugly game. But they lost on this day last year in a much uglier game, I think, even than this, to the Kansas City Chiefs. It's time for them to regroup and start writing better chapters than the past 2. Everybody have a good night.